part of the pitch that they've been told to play in and stuff.
Yeah.
I think, and George Williams is the peak of this, because he is so talented, so creative, so brilliant. Who's at the door?
I'm not sure.
So talented, so creative, so brilliant, but not kind of like that aware, game aware all the time. And what I think he needs, rather than a like halfback academy type thing.
Yeah.
Oh, is it Ben? Hi Ben. See you on Saturday.
Yeah, I'll see you Saturday.
Right.
Do you want to join in?
He always did want to be on the podcast, but only when he's pissed.
Ah, well, we've got beer. You've got beer. Let's keep on. Keep going. So yeah,
So what I think they would need is, rather than like an academy, because who's going to really run that,
Yeah.
but targeted one-on-one coaching from someone who actually can see the game, understand the game, and show them this sort of stuff. So get Joey Johns over for a coaching clinic, one-on-one with a George Williams, to say, this is what you're doing, you're really good at this, this is what they're doing, they're the next level, let's have a look at how they do it.
Yeah.
And that's how you bring them along.
Yeah.
I don't think putting them all together and trying to teach them all the same thing is the way to go. I think you need to do a plan, because, like, say Declan Patton's strengths are not necessarily the same as George Williams is, or Jordan Lilly's, or Jake Truman's, or however young you want to then go down. Yeah. That's my suggestion. Get someone like Joey Johns over, doing one-on-one with them. Yeah. Or whoever fits best what they need to learn.
Plus, the tiers in Australia lend themselves to developing young players a lot more, with a lot healthier level of competition as well, when they can be farmed out to under-19s, or they can play in the Queensland Cup or New South Wales Cup and things like that, and they've got those lower tiers to play in that are kind of a cut above just scholarship level play.
Yeah, because we have a lot of players who you don't expect to making up the numbers maybe at scholarship level.
Yeah.
Whereas there, you've got a lot of players who aren't going to make it, not because they never could, but because of some other reasons, like they lose focus, they lose dedication, what have you.
Yeah, precisely. So we'll have to see. But yeah, there you go. That's a cracking
good question.
Got us back onto rugby league. Bob Phillips says, and I don't even have an answer for this. I think we just have to acknowledge the question, really. How many famous rugby league players are named after trades, i.e. John Joyner and Mike Cooper?
What is a Cooper?
A Cooper is an old-fashioned... Oh, I don't know. It's something to do with wood. Maybe. What is it? I don't know. It's like...
Well, there's Dr. Marwan Kukash, who's named after doctors, but isn't really one.
Well, yeah, I suspect Marwan came first, didn't it? Cooper definition. There you go. Look at that. We're... Cooper definition. Yeah, there you go. It's something to do with wood. A maker or repairer of casks or barrels.
There you go.
There you go. Well, there's plenty of Smiths out there. Isn't there? So you know, Tim Smith.
Matty
there
Smith.
You go. There's my favourite Smith, Tim Smith. what a lark! What a scamp he was. I liked him. So there you go, Smith.
That's about as good as I could come
That's
up
about as
with
much as I can get for you. Okay.
Alfie Wolf.
Yes.
This is an even worse question.
Well, no, because you can find the answer for this quite easily.
He asks, how much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
Well, I found out the answer to this and I have forgotten it because we got a new Fire Stick the other week, and it's one of those ones with Alexa built into it, and I put the microphone on and started asking you dickhead questions, and one of the dickhead questions I asked, not that this is a dickhead question, but I was being a dickhead to Alexa.
A spade's a spade.
Yeah, well, if the cat
dickhead questions are dickhead
it doesn't matter who you're asking, whether it's us or Alexa. But I said, how much wood would a woodchuck could chuck wood? Anyway, wildlife biologists once measured the inside volume of a typical woodchuck burrow, and from this they estimated that if wood filled the hole instead of dirt, the industrious animal would have chucked about 700 pounds worth in order to fill its den.
But did they actually chuck it? This is the problem.
Well, I mean, you know, how many times have you pecked a pack of pickled peppers, Mark? Do you know what I mean? Let's not peel the layers off this too much.
Langers.
It was Darren being funny.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Asterix.
No,
okay. Keep getting in touch, Darren. Always lovely.
It's done out of love. Langers says, if real Donald Trump supported rugby league, which team would he follow?
Well, we're looking for a team with supporters who are fairly racist and bigoted in their views and not particularly intelligent and have an overinflated sense of what they'll achieve. So
every northern town that voted League.
Warrington or Lee is what I came up with. But yeah, pretty much every northern town.
I was thinking the Melbourne Storm, because they're not afraid to sort of trample over people to get to the top. They've not always,
I just don't like the idea of comparing anything to
Donald Trump.
Yeah.
They've not always followed the rules of the game and still happily paraded the trophies at the end. But then again, even as abhorrent as some of the things they've done in the time...
They do pale in comparison to the unbridled hideousness of Donald Trump.
But that'd be my best suggestion. Sort of 2000... mid to late last decade Melbourne Storm.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you are. Okay, Langer's another one.
Or the Bulldogs of early 2000s as well, potentially.
Yeah, there's got to be some filthmongers out there, hasn't there? Okay, Langer's, some of these are poetic and deserve time taken over. If a rugby league match takes place and Brian Davies doesn't watch it, was it ever played? It's a fairly good point. He has been to every rugby league match this season, which is...
And if he's not watching it, if he's not there, he's watching it. If he's not there or watching it, he's listening to it. If he's not there or watching it or listening to it, he's damn sure following it on Twitter, live up to the minute update.
If he doesn't know what happened in it, probably weren't worth watching, I know that much. One of the highlights of the World Cup for me, apart from the quality of play that we were treated to, was actually watching Bry on social media as he made his way around Australia and then was joined by his lovely lady wife, and as much fun as they had together.
Everywhere he was, he had something England on, an England singlet when he was running, an England... Yeah. Crazy England hat at the games, England caps everywhere.
I think you'd be hard pressed to find a more dedicated fan of rugby league, really.
That's why we honour him so regularly with awards and compliments. We love Brian.
So, from poetic to even more poetic, Langers then goes on to ask, if all the world's a stage, who's the best actor in the Super League and where are we supposed to play matches? I don't even know where to start unpacking this one. Best actor in Super League. Well, there's a lot of them starting to dive and chuck themselves about a little bit.
Darryl Clark, without question, Darryl Clark, or at least thinks he's the best actor in Super League. He gets away with it enough.
He's or Ryan Atkins for his penalties. He's the Sir John Gielgud of winning a penalty, or claiming a try.
Claiming a try. He's definitely cast in the villain role.
That's it. Absolutely.
Those two.
Yeah. There you go.
So that would make the stage
the Halliwell Jones, wouldn't it? Really. We've done. I tell you, it's been a while since we've Warrington bashed, hasn't it? And
this that's because they've been fuck all for the last 6 weeks of the season.
Yeah, true. That's all right. Yeah, so we're back with a vengeance. Okay, next question.
Where we at? Mark Butler, 1978, said, if Bradford had won the first... Oh, one for you. If Bradford had won the first £1 million game, would it have turned the club around or just delayed the inevitable?
Well, it's hard to say. Obviously, it would have meant they were back in Super League and would have had access to more money and potentially could have stabled the ship, but they were being run by that shady fucker, Mark Green. So there's every chance it would have only delayed the inevitable. To be honest, it's very hard to say. I would like to think that if they'd gone back up, they would have learnt lessons as an organisation would have learnt lessons. But it just seems to be that that was at a period of time when the club was being handed from one person to another who probably wasn't most experienced in running a rugby league club, didn't have the best business ethics, and also was hamstrung by funding issues moving forward. The current crop probably. Whether you buy into the conspiracy theory that they're the RFL's boys or whatever, they seem to be doing things in more or less the right way for a League One club.
But there's been stupid stuff along the way.
Of course there has. It's Bradford Bulls as always. It's rugby league generally the stupid stuff along the way.
I think if anything, the crash could have been bigger because there was no way they could have competed in Super League that year. And I think getting back to Super League would have just... and then not competing and having like a Broncos 2013-esque year would just have demoralised fans possibly even more.
The only thing I'd say
than a competitive Championship Shield victory that they got the following season instead, where at least at the end of that season there was optimism. Of course, all that optimism went away during a pretty shitty Christmas period a year ago, but at least there was some idea of optimism, whereas if you'd have gone to Super League they might have had to put all the money in playing staff, canned off the academy at that stage anyway. not really built for the future to try and compete, and they would never have assembled a team in time.
I'll tell you your point. I think the other thing is, if they'd gone up, they would have had more than one opportunity not to get relegated, because the format would have allowed them the opportunity to play against weaker teams and to pre-secure themselves a position not in the £1 million game. So
maybe Hull KR wouldn't have gone down.
Stability, so maybe Hull KR wouldn't have gone down. And then in terms of the optimism that you're talking about pre-Championship Shield, I don't recall anybody feeling particularly optimistic after they got beaten by Featherstone and didn't make it in at the middle eights, and Mark Green said, I will definitely not put the club into administration, and then promptly did. So whilst it was nice to pick up some silverware, I don't think anybody was allowing themselves to get carried away with what actually they achieved.
That was starting to appear.
They still do. That's the thing that keeps me interested in Bradford Bulls is the fact that we're still producing kids. So as long as that's going on, and now that there seems to be some more stable people in charge, hopefully we'll see some improvements.
Yeah, okay.
But there you go. Langers got in touch with us and says, if for the rest of your life you could only A, eat one biscuit, B, drink one drink, and C, watch one rugby match, what would be your choices?
I had to ask him if he meant watch one rugby match over and over and over again. That's already happened.
Yeah.
Or just watch one match-up.
Oh, I see. Okay, and what did he mean?
He said, whatever, if you want.
Whatever, even if you want, don't care. I'm literally just spewing these out.
So biscuit,
go on.
Avoiding like chocolate bars because they're not in the biscuit category.
No.
So I would go with maybe a Fox's ginger crunch cream.
That is a good biscuit.
That's where I'd go.
That's a good biscuit. I'm a bit cheaper. I'm a bit of a cheaper date than you as far as biscuits. I like a bourbon. Biscuit.
I bought a packet of bourbons the other week. I'm not into them at all, bourbons.
Good, I don't know. I've always liked a bourbon.
Well, if you want one, there's some in front room.
That's alright. I'll leave them with you. You might change your mind. Okay, drink one drink.
If you had to cut out all other drinks, I think I'd have to stick with tea as my one drink.
Yeah. That's the thing, you need to survive, don't you? You need to survive. This is it. I'd sort of like smugly gone, well, water. But do you know what I'm really enjoying at the minute? I really, really like that Guinness Lager, that Hop House 13.
Yeah, it's quite nice.
I enjoy it. I like that. That. I'm not saying it's an all-time favourite. I'm going to pick it. I like a Sneck Lifter as well. I've not had one of them for a while. The Jennings one.
If it was one beer for the rest of your life, I'd probably...
It's got to be Jaipur for you, isn't it?
It's maybe too strong, though.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? To have all the time. You'd want something that's a bit...
easier.
But there's nothing quite as nice.
That's the thing. You know what's saying you have to drink...
Well...
No one's saying you have to drink, get pissed off it.
I suppose there's a few that are slightly lighter, like a proper job or something like that.
Yeah,
maybe.
that's a nice happy one, isn't
it?
There you go. Game, though.
Summer
Lightning.
Summer Lightning.
That's a nice one, isn't it? Summer Lightning.
Yeah, hardly Summer Lightning. I've not had one of them for yonks. But rugby match. Okay, so if I was to watch one match-up, it'd be Wigan Saints, obviously, forever and a day. If you told me you could only go to 2 games every year, it'd be Wigan Saints games.
Yeah.
In terms of one match to watch over and over and over again, I'm torn between the sort of Groundhog Day experience of watching the World Cup semi-final or from 2013 or the World Cup final from this year, and just watching one of those two relentlessly in the vain hope that the outcome
eventually you'll get out. Yeah.
But otherwise, it'd probably be the 2010 Grand Final, I suppose, or the 2002 Challenge Cup Final. One of the games that I was at watching Wigan beat St Helens in a major final. Yeah,
which is the route I've gone down. I've gone with the 2005 Grand Final. For me.
Which you can watch over and over again unless you watch your DVD.
No, I have it on DVD. But it would be one I would choose to as well. And again, for a lot of the same reasons. Okay, turning the page then. If you could have, this is Chris Christmas who got in touch with us.
Chris McEwen, 80.
Yeah, absolutely. Chris McKeown, 80, says, if you could have one current player from Rugby League join your team, who would it be?
Jonathan Thurston. Why not start with the best?
Why not?
He's only got a couple of years in him, but why not?
Why not waste him?
He'd enjoy it. They'd fill a few more thousand people might rock up to games. People might not hate us as much because everyone likes Jonathan Thurston. Who doesn't?
Stop trying to cash in on Jonathan Thurston's popularity. He's done nothing wrong.
I just think for everything, every facet of it, probably him. If it wasn't to be him, then maybe someone like Jake Trebojevic.
Right.
Yeah. Someone who can come in, play 13, okay, the modern style of 13 rather than the lockers do it all 13, but someone who's going to solidify that position for for 7 years to come or so.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not looking for 7 years out of my signing. I'm looking for someone to come in and be an absolute inspiration. And this is a man who for whom my love has grown over the last 2 years exponentially. I'd take James Graham.
Good shout.
He would obviously monster it in League One, and the Championship and the Super League, to be perfectly honest. But
And the NRL.
yeah,
And the
international stage, and he could probably fly us to the moon. My admiration for James Graham has not stopped growing, really, in the last 2 or 3